So every live stream starts with me going, "Are we live?" And we are. We are live. We are live now. Have I got my phone on me? So there is a comment box. I don't know if you can see the comments from where you are.
I see the comment box and there's none there yet, but I can see where they will be if there are any. And then there's the private chat as well, it looks like.
Fabulous. So you've got that. And I always log into Facebook as well because, hi everyone, by the way, welcome. I forget we've got replay viewers. Welcome to the replay viewers. This is the Confidence Academy. This is the live podcast. As you can see, me and Jennifer are just getting our shit together. So
that's right.
You can join us. Go and get a drink, get settled in. We're going to give it a minute and just see if anyone's going to come on live. And I'm going to go ahead and log in on here because if what I was about to say is if people aren't logged into StreamYard, we can see their comments, but we can't see their names.
Got it.
So let me go here. There we go. Oh, and I hate this because it does a caption thing, which is cool. But then I see how many times I say and it writes everyone. I'm like, all right, StreamYard, I get it. Whatever. Okay, I can't actually see my thing. Here we go. Also, I always get excited when we get a viewer and then I realise that viewer is me.
Either way, somebody's viewing.
Somebody is viewing, absolutely. And we are on YouTube as well. So hello to YouTube and hello to everybody watching. Welcome back, Jennifer Vroom, to the podcast. Hello.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. We always have a great time together, Lily. So regardless, we're going to have a great conversation. I know, it already started. We have not been drinking.
I had to remember to even push the live button. Guys, I've got a plate of chips here. If you've been following my journey, you'll know that I'm supposed to be on abs transformation. And I am on abs transformation, except that today the transformation is going the other way. And I'm eating chips. I'm not even sorry about it, but I've had an evening, so cheers.
There you go. There you go. I wish I had some with me too. I'd join in.
Yeah,
thanks. That'd be nice one day.
So this is the live Q&A. Eating chips is a bad plan. This is the live Q&A for the episode this week, which was all about meditation. So I mean, I feel like, this should have been a very Zen kind of start. But I think that's the thing. We were going to do myth busting tonight, weren't we? And
exactly.
We're busting myths before we even start talking. Because
just through our example.
Exactly. You do not have to be an Ommi kind of spiritually very calm person to meditate. In fact, I think if you're not that kind of person, you probably need meditation more than most.
That's right.
That's how I would feel. So I think while we wait and see if anyone's going to join us live, let's get the conversation going because if you guys have been paying attention, you'll know that as well as the episode this week, I launched a 30-day meditation challenge. Now, this is exciting for lots and lots of reasons. Reason number one is it's the launch of this new concept of Challenge Lily. So every month I'm going to be doing a challenge. And this month it's meditation. And I'm doing this for myself first and foremost, which is why I do everything. It's always for me first. And then if other people can benefit, great. In full disclosure. And so I felt like I just wanted to try it because I've been doing this podcast for several years now. I've spoken to a lot of people that talk about meditation. They swear by it. They say that, they give the props to meditation for so many things, and I just thought it would be a great place to start. I'm frequently stressed out because I have my own business. We're in a global pandemic. I've got 3 children. I've also got a husband, which shouldn't be stressful, but it can be because it's another human that you're trying to, please and work around and all the rest of it. And so I quite often will start my day and I'm just like, bam, I'm up. Let's go. And I'm hitting the ground running and go. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that necessarily, except that when I'm honest and when I actually look at what I'm doing, I'm not actually doing anything very productive I'm scrolling on social media, I'm reading other people's posts, and I've got this internal narrative in my head constantly going, you don't do your things like that. You're not quite as good as that person. And look how flat that person's stomach is. And I bet that person didn't eat chips on their live stream last night, and blah, 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 blah. And so I just thought, for all of these challenges, I'm interested to see what changes I notice as I implement this new habit, because I don't actually think I'm a very habity kind of person. Like, you know, you hear about all these people that go, oh yes, I start my morning with a jog, or I do a meditation, and then I drink my lemon water, and I have a routine, and then in the evening I have a routine. And I'm like, mate, I'm just hanging on by my fingernails, like trying not to die. Like, that's literally my life. So it felt like meditation would be a good place to start. And so we have the beautiful Jennifer, who is my guide and my mentor for this 30-day process. And I've already felt a bit of a shift, which I will get into. But Jennifer, I would love you to reintroduce yourself and just say a bunch of good stuff about meditation to get us started.
Sure. So many things. Just listening to you gets me started on this topic. I could just talk about forever, of course. It's been a passion of mine since pretty early on in life, because I came across this, was introduced to it when I really needed it, way back when I was 17. My name is, by the way, everyone, Jennifer Vroom. I am the founder of Evoke Meditation, and I was inspired to start teaching it rather than just my own self-study, because I actually had the inspired idea a few years back, but this past year, I put it out to the world because I thought, what are other people doing in this time of the pandemic? How are they coping? I can't believe, because I still have my moments of stress, even with my meditation, but I can't imagine if I didn't have that practice, how I would survive, and let alone try to thrive. That's a whole different level, right? But I knew that there was this information needed to get out in another way, another teacher. There's always a different way to present it to the world that somebody would resonate with. So I wanted to put it out there because for me, it's been so helpful in my life in many different ways. It's had actually profound impacts in my own life. It didn't happen just overnight, but Lily, I love that you say that actually even just within the week or week and a half, because you had already dabbled just a little bit before starting the first week challenge, that you're already noticing some benefits, and it really can happen quickly. It can happen after the first time you do it. It's different for everybody, and it's going to evolve and change across time. But the main benefit, and why I do make it my habit and practice every day, I don't do, maybe every single habit that we hear is good for us, but this one stuck. And this one I do because it's like my own mental clarity for the day, and it gets me focused. It gets me tapped in. I do actually feel calmer and more focused. So I feel more efficient in my day, and I'm not as easily triggered. I used to have a really bad temper when I was younger. I used to just I had buttons all over the place you could push. And now my whole attitude and my perspective on people and on life is much different. And I do really attribute it to my meditation practice. A lot of it just really changed my whole perspective of things, and then how I present myself to the world and how I interact. Now, I love that we started off too talking about what meditation isn't and what a meditator, like now you are too, does not look like.
I want a t-shirt with that on it. Meditator. It sounds like Terminator, doesn't it? I am the meditator.
I like that. Seriously, yeah, don't mess with it.
I actually want meditator AF. Meditator as fuck. That's what I want.
I think that would be pretty awesome. There you go.
It might upset some of the spiritual community, but I feel like that might be why I'm here anyway. Just saying.
Not this community. I mean, there's a lot of us who'd love it. So there you go. But no, I mean, it doesn't mean that you're going to end up blissed out all day long and you'll never have a moment where you're stressed. That is what meditation is not. And that's what a meditator does not look like, unless you have chosen for yourself in your life to become a monk and actually sit on a mountaintop or live in a monastery. And there are those, but that's a small population of people in the world. And the rest of us who decide we want to spend our life still living in the modern world and and enjoy the busy life that we do, but enjoy it more and have more resilience in our life and have more ease and flow in our life. We still can have passions and we still can be like normal people, normal sort of.
Yeah.
You can only see one of my clips here. Normal. Like, where are my hands in the video? Right. I will never be normal, but we can still live a passionate life. So it doesn't mean that we're going to be just calm all day and blissed out. That is not what it looks like. But like I said, I enjoy it because it does allow more ease and flow, I feel like. And I just feel like I have more balance in my life. So I'm not tilted this way so much towards the extremes. I'm actually better able to kind of manage that balance.
Yeah. Do you know, I had a profound realization about it already that I want to share. And I also want to say, you know, you said that it's different for everybody, and for some people they'll do it once and they'll get that result, and then other people it won't be that. Do you know what I think it is? It's all comes down to alignment. And for me, it felt completely aligned to do meditation. And so I believe, and I know that I'm fully supported always. I know that if I ask for help, the help shows up. And so for me, I feel like that's why the switch was so instant, because I'm now at a point where I'm so in tune with my own intuition that when I'm guided to do something, I can just get out of my own way and I can do it. And I don't have to really grapple with all the reasons why it wouldn't work or why I shouldn't do it. Because I mean, there's a bunch, you know. Busy mum of 3. For a start, I mean, I'm not bad at getting up in the morning, but I already felt like I was getting up early. And I would get up and it would just be like stress from the word go, because I've got a 2-year-old who just sleeps whenever she feels like it. You know, she's just not on any kind of schedule whatsoever. I've got my middle boy Freddie. He's pretty good. He'll wake up in the morning. But Louis, who we think now may be autistic, just never wants to wake up. He can't sleep at night because of what he deals with. So he's awake till 2, 3 a.m. most nights. Can't wake up in the morning. So mornings were always stressful. And I just would, you know, I'd be driving to school, having fought to get them all in the car, to get them all dressed and fed. And, you know, there's been times we've driven to school and one of them hasn't had shoes on their feet. It's just like, do you know what I mean? It's like, why would you not have shoes on your feet? Like, who do you know that leaves the house without shoes on? You know, it's like, it's not that hard. Give me a frigging bone here, you know? So, and there'd be so many mornings I'd be doing that school run and just going, mate, this is not the way to start the day, because I understand energy, I understand intention, and I understand that how you start something is often what you then end up with as the day goes on. And of course, it's not always that way. And you get thrown a curveball, but you know, most of the time I would start my day like that, and then I couldn't center myself. And I'm a motherfucking spiritual being, dude. I'm trying to be zen over here, right? And people piss me off constantly, and it's just like, how am I supposed to do this? And you know, for my work, I'm intuitive. I have to have the ability to tune in, to read someone's energy, you have to be calm and still to do that. You can't be like, whoa, you know, which is probably hard to believe, because that is what I'm like a lot of the time. But, you know, some of the time I just have to be quiet. And so it was really an alignment thing for me. And I think, you know, all of that to say, anybody that's listening or anybody that's watching, if you're feeling that nudge, never mind what you think in your head. If you're feeling like, oh, I think that might work for me, trust it and try it, you know? And so what that looked like for me was making the decision to get up earlier, even though I was already getting up early. And you know what? It's been such a game changer, because it gets me up early. For a start, most of the time, not always, I get almost a whole hour of time just to myself. And that, I mean, like, as a mum, that is unheard of. You can't even poop without people coming in, right? The husband included. I sat in the bath once, and like child after child came in to take a shit, and I'm like, are you actually joking? And then just when I think that's over, in walks Kev, was like, oh, I just can't wait. And I'm like, for God's sake, like, I mean, if you're a mum, I know you feel me, right? It's like
hard to relax in a bath when people are doing that.
If someone takes a shit in my bathroom when I'm sat in the bath, like, that's gonna piss me off, right? That's
the bath oil can't cover that.
No, there's no amount of Zen-like meditation is gonna make that okay. So, you know, there was a lot of like mental clutter, like, I don't know if I can do this, but getting that hour, oh my God, like game changer. And I get so much done in the hour because you don't realize how much through your day you get, ma'am, or like, can I just have this? Can I just have that? And then ping, ping, ping on the phone. And then this has to be done and that. And never mind all the voices in my own head, right? So to have that hour in the morning, even that has been a game changer for me. And the profound thing I wanted to share was, and I think this is why so many people might feel like meditation doesn't work for them, or, you know, insert anything, whether it's meditation, EFT, like whatever modality we're talking about. And do you know what I think it is? It's the attachment to outcome. And I think the whole thing I've loved so far about the practice you're sharing is there's nothing to get, there's nothing to do. It's not like you don't have to meditate and then get your life purpose downloaded to you, or know exactly how you're going to change the world or cure cancer or do any of those things. It's just everything stop. And I think this is where so much of what we do is about getting an outcome. Like, you know, even journaling, like I've journaled for years and I do love it, but for a large portion of that time in the beginning, I literally would be like, journal, that's really good, right? So where's my transformation then? Like, I've done my thing. People think, oh, if I do this thing, I get rewarded with a happy life. It's not a reward system. I talk about this all the time. You don't meditate to be rewarded. It is rewarding, but it's not that the universe goes, oh, that person meditated, I will shower them with gifts, right? It's not, that's not how it works. You are the gift. And it's, you know, I think often before, if I had ever tried it before, I think that's where I was coming from. It was like, yes, getting zen, right? I need this answer, or I need to know how to make that money, or I need to know how to set that up, or I need to know like what to do about this situation. No, it's not about that. It's about just stop, everything stop. And that's what I've loved about it so far. Like my whole day, and actually now it's starting to bleed into before I even wake up fully. I've noticed this about myself in my mind. Like, I'm aware that I'm waking up, and that little voice goes, got to meditate, got to get up, got to go and meditate. And I'm like, this is meditating. Like, I'm lying still and I'm listening to you. So that's what it is. And so it's almost like a pre-meditation, and I'm still doing the practice because I said I would, and that's what I want to do. But actually it's training my brain to go, we're awake and now we're still, which I love because I can do that. And mine is the brain that's like, and like, it's like all those voices are like, whoop, no, okay, she's doing her thing, it's okay. As soon as it's done, they're like, whoa, here we go. But like now I'm all chilled out and I can like bat all the things out the way. I'm just like, that's not important, there's my focus, go, I'm done. You know, it's magic.
It really is. I love that. There's so many, again, good points that you always bring up. I love it. You get me going in so many different ways. But it's true. You know, that's one of the reasons I, again, made it as my habit. I also am not a morning person, but I do really take my morning routine very seriously because it sets up the rest of my day to be smoother and more successful and to flow. And I definitely notice a difference when I have skipped for whatever reason and I was putting it off till later in the day. And then I look at texts and I talk with everyone. I'm making phone calls. I'm getting started with the workday. The momentum is already picked up and now it's gotten away from me. And the thing about starting off earlier, at least in the day with meditation, before your day's already picked up and things have already started to get a little out of control and maybe gone away, you didn't really want it to go, and then trying to repair that Instead, when we start out earlier in the day, now we're the ones setting the intention for the day. And that's what I love about it, because then you really, I've noticed a huge difference in those days. I think we talked about this before going live, just like some days don't go quite as smoothly as others. And that's just always going to be the case too.
Yeah.
But at least we're doing our part in advance to prepare as much as we can, to do whatever we can with our own energy. We can't control other people around us. But you will find that as you meditate more often, you really do bring out the best in others. You interpret things differently. You don't take things as personally. There's just so many different benefits that you'll get, and you'll notice in your interactions and what you attract in both your experiences as well as the people that you're interacting with. And I do see a comment here.
We have a question. We need a confetti cannon for when the first question comes in.
I have a ball.
What have I got? Chips. I could do a chip.
Chips.
You can't see it. Here we go. Chips. That's a chip confetti cannon. Very lame. But anyway, thank you. I'm going to log in and see who that is.
Sure.
I'll be able to see the name. But yes, it's a great question. So I would love to get up early to meditate, but I have a habit of falling back to sleep. Any ideas on how to stop that? Now, this is interesting. I'm going to let you go on this.
Absolutely. Sometimes, because I do, you've heard me just say it, I always do recommend that we can meditate earlier on. But when we just get up, when we just wake up, and then for some of us, especially if we're new to meditating and we try to meditate, our mind is still a little too sleepy. So if that's the case, you might want to have just a little space then between just waking and the meditation sitting. Not a lot. Maybe have a glass of water. If it's not too freezing cold, maybe just get a little fresh air for a minute. Whatever will get you up just a little bit. Maybe brush your teeth first, just to start to get yourself a little more alert. Maybe even a little movement or stretching beforehand, kind of not the whole yoga routine necessarily, unless you are into that, that's great. But just a little bit of like some movement just to get you awake. And that will definitely help. Speaking of sleep, which is a great question because it leads into another problem a lot of people experience, and that is falling asleep during meditation. I know when I first started many, many years ago, that was what was happening with me. I started lying down. That's how I started out. And I would fall asleep like that. So one thing I do suggest is also for sure sitting up. Upright will help. I was going to say that sometimes people confuse when they're falling asleep in meditation or with actually getting into that transcendental state is where I was going with that. So sometimes it's hard to tell the difference because you're in such a deep state of relaxation. It takes some getting used to determine, am I actually falling asleep? You might actually be in that transcendental state. I think with this one, it sounds like you know that you're falling asleep, and that's okay. Then we can just adjust some of the things we're doing in our posture, maybe. I don't recommend, when we're talking about posture, by the way, I don't recommend not having back support. It doesn't mean we have to sit upright without, and try to be like in that monk-like position and make it more stressful for ourselves. You don't have to do that, but you could try if you're having the difficulty of falling asleep. That could be another thing. Maybe do it where you're actually sitting a little more upright. See if that helps too. So these are just little tips. You'll have to sort of try and see what works for you. But again, giving a little bit more space, I think, between your just waking up state and definitely sitting up for sure.
Yeah, I think for me, because that would have been my issue before, and I can see who it is now. It's Philippa. Hi, Philippa. Hey.
Hi, Philippa.
I had to refresh the screen to get in.
Great question.
But yeah, I've definitely been there as well. I think the difference for me this time was understanding that it's an active meditation as opposed to a guided sleep meditation, which is sort of then the point. You want to be guided off to sleep, and then you get those subliminal, you can get those subliminal things going in, like telling you that you're a boss lady or whatever, But it was the understanding that this is me connecting to who I am in my soul. It's almost like a quiet conversation. And definitely sitting up helps with that. I'm still super relaxed and my eyes are still super sleepy. But what I've been doing, Philippa, is not doing it in my bed or in my bedroom. mainly because there's a boob monster, and I don't mean Kevin, that is going to just jump on my boobs if she gets any inkling that I'm awake. She's just like, boobs! I mean, it could be Kevin, but it's not likely at this point.
There are multiple boob monsters.
Oh God,
that's great.
Already. Yeah, we're not even half an hour in.
Are we talking meditation? Wait a minute. What's our topic?
Yeah, exactly. So anyone that's coming in right now, they're like, wait, am I in the right boob monsters? I started a live stream the other day. This was on the podcast as well. And I think that started with something about boobs. I think like the first, because we were waiting for it to click in live, because you press live and there's a slight delay. And I think the first word out of my mouth was boobs or something inappropriate. So I was just like, I get a reputation for myself. But yeah. So anyway, I don't do it in the bed because I think I would go back to sleep as well. So I get up. I walk to, who's trying to call? That's weird. My parents are trying to phone. I will phone them back shortly. Not now, parents. Yeah, so I get up, I go downstairs where it's titty freezing in this house. And that's going to wake me up.
There you go.
And then I get myself a little blanket and then I sit on my sofa. I've tried it in different places. And actually, this was one of the questions I was going to bring up because I found that in the early stages, look at me, like feeling like I'm all a pro now, like a weekend. But like the first couple of days, I was so distracted with how much my body hurt doing it. And I wanted to ask about that because I think like, okay, I'm of a certain age. I'm definitely over 40 and a few years plus. So there's that. But I also understand that when you shift energy in your body, that shows up as pain as well. And so I wanted to bring that up. And you mentioned movement, but I have found it at times, not all the time, but I have found at times that I've wanted to just sort of sway around. And I just think it's about listening to your body. And if you want, like one morning I started humming. It was just, I just felt like I wanted to sing along with the little tune that was playing. So it's about giving yourself that space and that permission to do whatever feels good. So yeah, I would love to speak on that a minute though, because that energy moving in the body. I mean, I've had that. It feels like you're in labor when it's really bad. So it can be really severe pain at times.
Okay. Yeah, I wanted to definitely speak on that too. So I'm glad you brought it up. And before I go there, one other thing that came to mind while we were talking too about the sleep. I love that you said move to a different place. Yeah, that's perfect. Try a new spot. And I do always recommend having one consistent set place that you feel safe, that is quiet, where you can close the door, even if it's a closet, whatever works for you in your home or in your place where you're living, or wherever you're able to do that meditation. But I like that tip about not doing it in bed if you're falling asleep. Also, trying to take a few intentional deep breaths because we need a little more oxygen also to our brain too. So all of these things will be great for the sleep issue. And then to speak on the body pain, I love that you are feeling energy flowing. That's a really great thing. We don't want it to be painful. So I'd first say if it was as intense as labor pains, now that I haven't heard before as something so intense with body pain. And I would just say, watch that if it's something that worsens, of course. And I would say to any listener that if you're having sharp pains or pains that start to worsen across time, of course, consult your physician. But it is very normal for anyone in meditation, even experienced meditators, to sometimes feel those body aches more than you would in your normal day. And that's because we have so many things going on in our life. We're distracted when we take the time to slow down. And now we're quieting all those thoughts. Well, guess what's going to stand out more? Any of those aches that are just right here and present with us. So that is very normal. And a good thing that you're feeling is that flow. Like when you feel like your body wants to move, some people feel that. I do actually almost every meditation. I do some, like I'll just notice my body is inspired to move in a certain way. And then I know I'm in the flow. I know that like energy is coming to me and through me. And so that's very normal. But some things like if you are feeling uncomfortable, that will help you as you're getting started. Just like we talked about finding a different place to meditate. It could be finding a different chair, as simple as that. Sometimes people try to do their meditation sitting upright, and they've got like the mudras, and they're trying to hold this like posture of what you see in these cool photos of monks sitting on the mountaintop usually, or people trying to emulate that, and it's super uncomfortable. So let's make it easy on ourselves. And that's why I say I always meditate with a backrest. I don't do it usually with a headrest, but you could, because I do some movement sometimes in my meditation. I do it without the backrest, but it's sort of finding for you what will feel better to your body. And that's going to change on any given day, by the way. Because I like to sit with my legs crossed a lot of times. There are a lot of people that would not feel good at all, so you could also put your feet down on the ground. You could put your feet up on a ottoman, whatever is going to work for you. But it will change across different days. Some days I feel a little more, what's the word, crickety, a little more kind of
like a tin man.
Yeah. And sometimes, you slept the wrong way, something happened. And so I might do some neck rolls because I feel stiff. And so, that's going to change. But finding a different chair to sit in, using a prop. I mean, for me, sometimes I'll even put a pillow on my lap so my hands have something to lay on because it just feels better on my shoulders. So there's all different things you'll start to feel and notice. And know that in your meditation, because I think a lot of us too feel like when we're just getting started again, it's this idea we have in our head of what meditation looks like, and we try to be stiff. Can we be like super still? I don't even want to like move when I'm breathing. I mean, we don't need to be a tin man like that. We're not trying to be statues. So you can move in your meditation, and you might be inspired to move. But also, if you have the wiggles, try not to like make it a big deal where you open your eyes, stop the meditation, like do this. But you start to get used to what will work for you, and it's okay to move a little bit in your seat when you're settling, to make it comfortable, and then return back to whatever your focus is. If it's your breath, if it's your mantra, whatever that is. But but definitely that's very normal, and it's not something normally to be concerned about. Again, just if it's sharp pains, if it's something that's continuing to become something unusual and pretty intense, then let's talk about it, and we'll figure out what would be a next good step for you.
Yeah. I should just point out that the pain I had at the start of this, it was literally like a bit of just uncomfortable hip. Do you know what I mean? Like,
there you go. Okay.
And like you say, that it would probably be there and you just haven't tapped into it. The pain I had that was super severe was back when I actually was pregnant with Sophia, actually. So it would have been nearly 3 years ago now. And I was having an energy healing session online, and she was doing this remote muscle testing. And she did say, as we move it, you're going to feel it. And I got pain so severe in my back, like the lower back, that I thought I was in labor, and I had to stop it. And I was like, this is so excruciating. And I've got a high pain threshold. Like it takes a lot before I'm going to go, ow. Especially when I'm in an energy thing. I'm so British, I wouldn't want to say I'm in pain. I'd rather just be in pain than like try and interrupt someone's work. So for me to say I have to stop, it's like the time they put bleach on my hair and my head was literally on fire. And I was like, it's burning. But yeah, she said, you could be in labor because you're so pregnant. If it's not that, the muscle testing will help. And she did her muscle testing and it just dissipated. So she just worked on it. And it was where I had just brought up some really painful memories, and it was showing its physical pain. But yeah, as far as the meditation was concerned, it was literally I just think it was my brain so used to being on all the time. It was like, need something to focus on. And like on all the thoughts, I was pretty good at batting away. So I think then it was like, but now we're in pain. Like, let's focus on that.
You're right on. That pain was there before, but it was not as noticeable until there was nothing else for it to latch onto. There was no social media. There was no kid trying to boob latch or whatever. So then the alertness could go straight to that was there. Oh yeah, I see. Struggle with hips and lower back. That is so common, right? Especially when we're just learning to sit in stillness. It can be uncomfortable. And it's funny because I think a lot of us actually sit a lot of our day, but we're not sitting in stillness, especially with our mind. So then again, everything becomes more amplified initially. One thing you can do as a strategy is think of it as another thought. When we talk about our first week of meditation, it's always a shifting from one thought to something different. We're giving our mind in meditation a different point of focus. So it's not something that brings up intense emotion. It's not something that is a worry or a stressor. That's our normal thought process in the normal day. We're switching from that to something else that we can focus on, because our mind wants to think. In fact, trying to stop all thoughts, you can't do it. And if you try to, it's gonna say, oh no, you think you can stop all thoughts? Okay, here's another thought. That's a thought, by the way. That is a thought. Right. You just thought something. So no, you can't do that. And so what we do instead is we give our mind something else to focus on, like our breath, or like a mantra, which we will eventually get to also in our weeks. But for sure, crossing your legs, it doesn't matter. You don't need to. That just for me happens to feel comfortable some mornings. The body position doesn't really matter. It just has to feel good to you and to your body. And again, that'll change across time. But there's absolutely no reason why you need to cross your legs. It's just like what feels good to you. If you want to, even once you've overcome the sort of sleeping part of falling asleep in meditation, if it feels good to lay down, lay down. There's nothing wrong with that. I just always encourage you to sit up, because we tend to fall asleep if we don't. So if we don't sit upright. So that's the only reason. But again, determine what feels good to you, and absolutely feel okay about moving to make yourself more comfortable, so that we want to feel comfortable in our meditation. We don't want it to be work, and we don't want it to be effortful. But when you come across pains in your body, again, think about it like, okay, that's another thought. That's something else. And actually, that's a good thing, because I'm becoming more sensitive to things happening so that I can act upon it quicker too. You know, I like that you talked about, I used to say the same thing. Like, I am very tolerant of pain. I used to always say that. And I don't know if it was always a great thing, because what happens is I was really numbing myself to certain things that were not working in my life. And eventually stress got so much in my life that I had to pay attention to it, and I could not deny it. And I think one good thing about meditation is, like in the energy work that you do and have done, it brings out our sensitivity to things and our awareness. So that way, again, when something is right, we can act on it. When we hear that inspiration, we don't just ignore it. And when something's not right, we can also act on that too, as needed.
Yeah. Do you know, and as well, Philip has just said here, it's nice to know it's not uncommon to move yourself, because you do feel sometimes you shouldn't move. And I think that's the other thing that I wanted to say, that this whole thing is like such a great life lesson, because there's no should, right? It's about coming back to you, and it's trusting what you feel guided to do, and knowing that that's okay. Like, it's okay to do that. And I think we spend our whole lives trying to fit in little boxes and tick things off and do the right thing. And I think we lose some of our magic when we do that, because we're cutting ourselves off from what we need. And this is how we end up in toxic relationships. And this is why I stayed in a job I hated for years, because I just thought that I should, you know. It's like, oh, I don't know why would anyone do that? But, you know, it was like, oh, well, you know, it's not the dumb thing to quit. You shouldn't quit, you know, too early. And, you know, and there's probably a reason. And I think I love what you said as well about the pain. Anything you say is a self-affirmation. So it's about paying attention to what are you telling yourself, and does that affirmation serve you? Is that going to end up serving you? And it actually does tie in, because I've famously been someone who doesn't really tap into emotion much. You know, my nickname used to be the Ice Queen, because you could literally show me any film and I'd be like, yeah, like. And I just thought that was such a great thing. And of course, now I've had kids and the floodgates have opened, and I cry at any little advert now. But
Yeah.
But still, you know, it's like that. And actually, that's part of the mental health thing I had, you know, when I was super anxious, when it was at its worst. It was that numbingness, it was that disconnection from my feelings. And I think all the way along, it's about reconnecting to your feelings. It's nothing to be afraid of. It's something to pay attention to. They're your inner GPS system. It's what you've been gifted to navigate the shit show that is this life. So you have to know, like, when you feel a certain way, that's okay. And now, how do you want to play it? What do you want to do? If your butt hurts when you sit down, like, move, you know, don't put up with butt pain. It's not
exactly. That's another t-shirt. Don't put up with butt pain in meditation.
Oh God, that could be taken in so many ways, couldn't it? What is happening? You're trouble. You're like, this is some kind of energy shenanigan instigation that's going on right now.
Shenanigan is one of my favorite words in the English language, actually. So it's so funny. We always end up getting into them.
Exactly. Well, it's the best way to be.
But I love that reminder about why we meditate, and that is to tune into that inner guidance. And that's why I do it. I think we always need to tap into what we want out of life, what our feelings and what our knowledge is that sits within us, that we usually rely on other people and outside experiences for, but instead by tuning back into us, which we can get through meditation, then again, things will be led to the next best step. Maybe that's moving to this chair. Maybe it's lying down. Maybe it's doing this for the meditation, but also just in our life in general. But it's just a beautiful thing. There's a quote I even have on my website, which is "Quiet the mind, and the soul will speak." And so you earlier you alluded to an analogy of meditation like a conversation as well. And that's the way I think about it. Of course, I'm a speech therapist too, so a lot of things relate to conversation and speaking too. But I think of meditation like our ability to listen in a conversation. Whereas maybe when we're journaling and writing down questions beforehand or in prayer, that's us talking to the greater universe and the universal powers and asking for something, or asking for answers. And then when we tap in through meditation, that's when we quiet ourselves and quiet the mind, and we can actually start to hear and tune into that information that's always actually flowing to us. We just usually we've got all this chatter happening, so we can't even hear it. And so by quieting, we're able to hear all that intuition that's always flowing to you. And so I really like that. It's aligning with yourself and with what speaks and rings true for you. And then I find, in my everyday life too, as we were talking about numbing, it's the opposite of that. I'm able to now tune into what I do or don't like and what works for me in my life. And I'm able to speak up for myself more if there's something I don't like in a mindful way, of course, but I can communicate that better with my partner, with my coworkers, with people I am always in association with in my life. And I can set appropriate boundaries that work for me. And I feel like it helps in so many areas of your life. In any area you're needing, it'll help you.
For sure. And I think, what you were just saying then, I was just thinking that, for me, it's such a good bolt on to journaling, because I think you're right. Journaling is a conversation. And even though I channel when I write, so I will always start by writing what I'm feeling or what I'm thinking or needing. And then guidance comes through. And actually, often my journaling ends up being, I'll ask a question from human Lily, and then higher, very wisdomous Lily lands in and goes, I have all the answers. But what I love about the meditation practice is it's just space. There's no, because even when you journal, there is an element of expectation. Like, I'm journaling now and I want to get to an outcome. Again, it comes down to those outcomes again. And I just think you're just giving yourself that space in a world where it feels like there's not enough time and there's not enough of anything. It literally, in those 5 minutes, they go so fast, And I always thought, you know, in the beginning, actually, I think I was kind of like, my eye was always like, oh, are we there yet? Are we there yet? And I'll definitely admit to checking myself out in the reflection of the window to see if I looked, you know, meditation-y enough. I was like, yeah, check me out. Like, I feel like it really hurts, but I look amazing. Somebody get a camera.
My butt really hurts sitting like this, but I look great.
Oh, but that's like models though, isn't it? I did a photo shoot once in the Dominican Republic, and the things I had to contort myself into, and the photos, I look really relaxed. But I remember at the time that my back was broken in two because they were like, you've got to pop that out more. And at one point they were shining, they had this big silver thing because they wanted to put the light on my face. Yep. It was burning my corneas. I was just like, this is not
that's what it takes for a glamorous photo. I'm a photographer too, and I used to do portraiture, so I know it's so unnatural to look natural.
Unnatural. I mean, the pictures are beautiful, and now I look at them and we look so carefree and happy. But I remember, and I was really young then as well, and everything hurt. Like, I had to sit on this cast iron thing in the Dominican Republic. So I'd like burnt my ass on that. And then I was up a coconut tree at one point. That wasn't pleasant either. It was just like, my Lord. Yeah, no. No, it's not the way. It's, you know, far better. But I think I love this whole thread we keep coming back to, that it's for you. It, you know, and when you're not looking outside for anything, it's all within us. And you know, coming back to the alignment piece that I was talking about earlier, you know, and there's been a bit of a journey around it as I've grown into my own spiritual gifts, and I've understood what it is I truly do. Because, by the way, you know, the singing thing, that's like a human disguise, right? It's like your human disguise is a speech therapist, but you've got magic in you, right? And I just think that's the case for so many of us. And oh, awesome. Thank you, Philippa. Philippa says she
Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us.
But yeah, it was that as I've dropped deeper into those gifts and I've understood more of that, I recognized initially that I would feel like, oh, but I can't be a proper spiritual person because I don't meditate, or I can't be a proper spiritual person because I'm not calm and peaceful. I'm like, woo, all the time. And it was recognizing that, first of all, that's rubbish because, you know, we're all come packaged up in different ways. But also, I find it interesting that I've now been guided to it, and not from that ego place, not from that place of, oh, I have to meditate, otherwise I can't call myself spiritual, but more from a place of, over here, I'm recognizing that I am a spiritual being. I have these spiritual gifts. A huge part of my work is energetic. And so, of course, I'm going to be guided to do a practice that starts with me reconnecting back to that. Like, it's just, it makes perfect sense. But it was important that it came from that place rather than from a headspace of going, oh, I should meditate, you know? And I think that's the thing. People like, do you find people often apologize to you when they find out that you're a meditation teacher and they're like, oh, I don't really do that. Sorry. Do you know what I mean? Like, don't apologize. You don't have to do it.
Oh, yeah. It's sort of like when I was vegetarian and vegan. Yeah. Same thing about meat. It's like, oh, I eat meat. It's like, it's okay. We all can make our choice. It's okay.
Yeah. You're not, as long as
still
you
live in the world.
Do it, that's fine. But yeah, no, I get the same with singing. I get, you know, immediately people feel like they have to state their singing status so that they're like, oh, I sound like a bag of strangled cats, or, oh, you know, I sing karaoke, but, you know, it's cool. We can do us. And I think this is the age that we're coming into now. I think so many more people are going through that transformation that I've been through. I can't be the only one. I think more and more people are starting to realize there's something else. There's something bigger. There's something else I want to connect to, or there's some other part of me that I've been shutting off. And, you know, for me, what that looked like was high stress, anxiety all the time. And really that was coming from listening to anything but myself. You know, it was scrolling Instagram or Facebook and going, oh, I should be more like this person. Or it was watching films, or even seeing other people that I know and going, oh, well, they're more like that, I should be more like that. It's this idea that we're supposed to be anything other than what we were born as, you know?
Absolutely.
And I think this is what brings you back to you. And, you know, there's that great saying that I always mess up because I can't remember exactly how it goes, but it's something like, you know, wherever you go, there you are. And I think, you know, we all land on this planet. We forget why we've come. We forget who we are. We don't remember that we're magical. We think we're clueless, and we go scurrying around like trying to get life done. And everything we're looking for is already here. We are the missing link. We're the missing key. And, you know, it blows my mind when I think of the journey I've been on. But, you know, at the most stressful points was when I was the most disconnected from my truth. It was when I was trying to please everybody else. And I believed I was a bad person if I didn't do this or didn't do that. And so it brings you back to that. And I think I heard, because I've got another friend who does meditation, and he said something on his live stream the other day, which was something like, you meditate to reconnect with, like, you just meet your own soul. Like you meet your soul in the space that you create when you meditate. And I just thought that was amazing. I thought that's so beautiful. Who wouldn't want that, right?
Exactly. It gives you more confidence in yourself to follow your own path. You don't have to live up to someone else's expectations to be happy in life. And in fact, you probably won't if you go by just what someone else tells you should or shouldn't do. And so
it's
when
all perception anyway, you don't even know what that person wants because it's all coming from here anyway.
And from their own selfish, even though they're, you know, trying to do what they think is for your best interest too, it's from their selfish perspective, which that's fine. I get it. But that's why you always take it with a grain of salt. And then you reconnect with yourself and you determine what rings true for you. And, you know, just all of a sudden coming to mind is another one of those myths, which is on enlightenment. As we're starting to come to a close, I know I just wanted to bring up too on the idea of enlightenment and what that is. You know, a lot of people think also, if I sit in meditation and I'm just thinking the whole time, or I don't get this crazy like lightning strikes and a message comes down glowing into my life, you know, and it's the answer to the world with angels. Oh, I know. Then I'm not doing it right. So this meditation is not the thing for me. No, it's not going to happen that way. And what happens is you will get subtle nudges. And that's where also, as we talked about, tuning more into ourself and becoming more sensitive or aware of those messages or feelings, and then being able to act on it sooner. Same thing. You're going to get subtle sort of inspirations or thoughts or messages telling you to do this thing that doesn't sound like it's anything pretty major, but it's the thing that will lead you to the next thing, to the next thing, and the next thing, and to where you want everything. But you don't want to get there like tomorrow or right now. You really don't. You think you do, but you actually don't. It's a journey. It really is. I know that's such a common saying, but it really, really is, guys. It's a journey. And so that's another reason for that. You know, just keep on with the meditation practice and you'll find you start to hear those little messages more clearly. And then you start to act on it. And then you see, oh, that happened because, and I listened to that message. Let me try this again. Let's do this again tomorrow. And keep on that way. Yeah.
No, it's so true. It's absolutely true. And it's, you know, you don't want to hear it. Like if you're in a shitty time right now, hearing that it's a journey and it's only incremental steps feels like shit. And you're just like, no, I just want out of it. But, you know, I've been through that journey and I'm not going to say I'm through it. I've found a stopgap because I think life is a whole series of journeys like that. So I'm sure I'll be taken down another path at some point. But where I'm at now, I recognize I wouldn't have known what to do with all the stuff anyway. If it had all come at once, you know, I often think, oh, I wish I understood who I was 20 years ago. I wouldn't have known what to do with that. I wouldn't have. And we weren't in this world then either. We weren't in the online space. If I'm supposed to help all these people around the world, how could I have done that 20 years ago? We didn't have this back then. It just wasn't possible. And so it's all in divine timing. We're always okay. We always have everything we need. We have that guidance. It's available to us. And, you know, you can literally, it's like you just said, these small incremental steps. It's only when you turn around and look that you'll see what an enormous transformation it was. It never feels like a huge transformation at the time because you're the one in it constantly. It's like anything else, you know, when you're on a fitness journey, you don't suddenly look in the mirror and go, oh, there's my perfect body. But you might see a photo of yourself from a year ago and go, wow, I've done really well. Or the other way, it depends which way you're going on that trajectory. But just to finish us off, I would love, because for you guys, if you've just joined or if you're just coming into this halfway through, we're doing a 30-day meditation challenge. Today was day 4, so tomorrow's day 5, but it's not too late to get involved. There's, like we just said, it's all in divine timing. There is no behind. You start where you're at, and if tomorrow's going to be day 1 for you, that's perfect. Jennifer, for those people watching who might be thinking now, oh, I need to get on this meditation thing, what can we expect as we go through the weeks? Because I know we're doing it's like a guided breathing meditation that's got us started. So what can we expect over the coming days and weeks as we move through this challenge?
Sure. So you can go to my website and you can sign up anytime. It's never too late to sign up. It's free. So you have access to a video where I will instruct you for that week. I will provide you with an audio meditation. This past week, you'll also still have access to that information. And that was on mindful breathing. I always love to start with that just because that is something you can take with you anywhere you go, even without the audio itself. In the subsequent weeks, I'm going to provide you different 5-minute meditations, one new meditation every week. So that way, by the end, you'll have a toolbox that you can use and you can take with you just for an easy 5 minutes a day. But next week, we're going to learn how to actually relax our body a little bit more into the meditations, getting used to sitting in stillness. We will also be working on mantras and then also sound, because I know, Lily, since you're a singer and you love sound, and I do too. I love music and sounds. There's so many tools out there and ways we can refocus and shift our focus onto softer things to tap in. And so I'll be teaching you and guiding you through all of that as we move forward.
I love it. And as you started saying that, the time went 5555.
Oh, I love
magical.
I love it.
That's a magical angel number as well. So yeah. And I just want to reiterate this, because you guys listening on the podcast, you might be listening to this a year down the line, or even 25 years, might even be 95 years down the line. Me and Jennifer may have long gone, but we can all hang out when you meditate. We'll come and visit you in spirit form.
That's right.
But still. It's never too late. It's literally never too late. As long as somebody has taken on Jennifer's website, if it is 95 years down in the future, by then we've figured out how to stay alive for longer. But whatever, click the link in the notes and you'll get to that meditation practice.
Absolutely.
Just wait to finish. Oh, I love it. So funny. Thank you so much. To you guys listening, we would love to have your questions still. So Jennifer's going to be hanging out in the Facebook group. You can still ask your questions. I want to know as well. I want to know how the challenge is going for you. So if you head over to my Instagram stories, that's where I'm updating every single day. I nearly forgot today. I was cooking the omelette and I suddenly went, oh my God, I haven't told everyone that I did it. I had this pang of guilt. I was like, people are going to think I didn't do it. I did do it. But yeah, every day at any given time, I will update those stories. I would love you to come in and comment. And if you're doing the challenge, be sure to tag Jennifer in your posts as well, so that more people can get to hear about it. It's Evoke Meditation. If you're not sure, go to my Instagram and it's all linked up on there. And of course, in the show notes, we will also put the links there as well. Jennifer, thank you. It's been an absolute blast.
Same. I always love hanging out with you. And thank you to everyone listening in. If you have any questions, need any support, always feel free to reach out to me.
Yeah, do it. And thank you to Philippa as well for showing up. It's always nice when we have live questions as well.
Thank you.
I feel like it helps to stem the shenanigans slightly, but not too much.
She's our mantra, our focus.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. She was there to pull us back. You guys will be back again next week, of course, with another special guest. So keep your eyes peeled for what that's going to be coming up. But this week is still all about meditation. And in fact, this whole month is about meditation. Meditation March. So let us know when you're doing the challenge. We want to know how it's going for you. Any questions, anything at all. Tag me, tag Jennifer. We will do our best to help. Jennifer, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Goodbye, everybody. Remember, confidence is yours as soon as you choose it. And I'll be back again soon. Take care.